I'm going to give you two kinds of pauses in this video, show you how to use these pauses, and at the end, I'm going to show you how to deal with those people in your life who jump in and steal your silence. There's a very famous quote from a French composer that goes, "Music is the space between the notes." And when we talk about powerful and impactful communication, you can kind of tell how someone will be perceived by how well they command silence and how comfortable they are with silence. If they're not comfortable with silence and they always have to fill the air with sound and pollute the soundscape with noise, then they're generally very rapid thinkers and they are very fractured in how well that they can focus on a thought. And they're typically not very impactful or memorable with their speech. So I want to talk about two kinds of pausing that can help establish you as more of an elite communicator in your field. So the first kind of pause is what I call the composer pause. And the best way I want you to think about this is it's forward facing. You are creating what's next. You are taking time to pause and think about what you want to say next. And this is the kind of pause that Steve Jobs would always use when he would be teaching a classroom or talking about a business lecture. He would pause for 2 minutes, gather his thoughts, and then answer his question, and his answer would be insightful and intelligent because he gave himself ample thought time to compress his thought into something meaningful. The second kind of pause is what I call a cinematic pause. And a cinematic pause is not forward-facing, it's backward-facing. So it amplifies what you just said. That's a cinematic pause. A cinematic pause is it's like a silent echo. It's one of those like fists that come down and punctuates what you say. So once you're comfortable with these two kinds of pauses and you know how to deploy a composer pause and a cinematic pause, and it takes time to know where to insert these into your speech because you don't want them to be too theatrical, right? There's a version of Joseph that could deliver this video and say everything with a cinematic pause afterwards and everything with a composer pause in the beginning, and it would just feel too staged. It would feel too artificial. So you have to develop a relationship with these pauses, with these two kinds of silence, so that they are appropriately seasoning what you say and can cause your message to be more impactful and understood. What often happens when you open up space is it creates a vacuum. When you have a pause, it wants to be filled by other people. They might be thoughts from inside your head. They might be contributions from other people in the conversation, like when you're trying to get a point across and you pause and someone else jumps in. So it's not enough to just have impact or emphasis. You have to be able to defend your conversational territory. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So when we talk about people who want to interrupt you, the best visual that I can give you is they're like a puppy. When you ask for a pause and you have a moment of silence, you've created that with a composer pause and a cinematic pause, and they enter into the conversation and they sort of steamroll all that thinking time.
If you're an entrepreneur, business owner, or high performer, and you like the concept in this video and you want it to be something that you do effortlessly under pressure, click the link below to apply for Elite Speak. Elite Speak is my signature program where you work with me directly to identify and overcome the 3 communication bottlenecks that are limiting your influence, authority, and room control. I'll see you on the call.
This is not an act of war. They're not coming at you with a sword. What you're just dealing with is a very excited, passionate puppy. You're dealing with a little dog, and you can't really pause a little dog and say, okay, stop. Like, it's going to do something. It's going to, I don't know, hump your leg. And what's happening is you're getting humped in conversation. So what you have to do is kind of play along with the puppy. And what this looks like practically is saying, as an example, hold on a minute, wait a minute, like, don't attack me. I need a minute to process this. I need a minute to deal with this. And so what you're going to do is 2 things. One is you're going to verbalize with enthusiasm, okay? And what this might look like is, oh, this is such an interesting conversation. Thanks for your opinion. I never thought about that. Give me a second. I really want to think about that. Or, hold on, I really like that idea. What if we did this instead, right? You can hold the pause, but you have to verbalize that. And you have to specifically request time to process what the person said. And the second thing that you're going to do to defend your conversational territory is you have to visualize it. You need a gesture, especially when you're in a group. This isn't so much needed when you're one-on-one with people because, you're with someone and they're going to respect the dynamic of the dialogue. But when you're in a group and there's the opportunity to maybe not focus on you, but to focus on someone else and steamroll your pause, what's important for you to really put your hand out or your finger out to hold that space, and this is something you're going to have to get used to in order to hold that pause. And it's all dependent on the person and the personality and how visual that you are with your gestures. And it's almost like there's an analogy of an Italian dinner table where there's like a big bowl of Italian bread rolls. And as soon as the dinner bell rings, ding, ding, like everyone is in there putting their hands in the basket trying to grab a bread roll. And you're going to have to take some initiative and get one before they're all gone. Otherwise, there's going to be nothing left. And so what you have to learn how to do with a pause is you're going to have to defend that conversational territory a little bit and get used to being a little bit more assertive in the way that you defend that environment. And all you really need to do is verbalize with enthusiasm and then secondly, put out a visual cue. Something that can establish that this is your space. You just need a moment to process. And sometimes it looks as simple as, hold on a minute, like that's a really interesting thought. I want to respond to that. Just give me like 10 seconds to think about this. And then you could take your time, a little bit more than 10 seconds, and deliberate. So you're gonna have to practice with that phrase, finding a phrase and then building a relationship with that phrase so that it feels familiar and you're not tripping over it. Because if you use this for the first time, it's going to feel a little bit stale, it's going to feel a little bit stiff. Now, I want to talk about a very big theme here with silence and with this idea of defending your conversational territory, and that is this concept of interruption. Learning how to deal with interruption and be comfortable with it. And there's sort of two ways of thinking about interruption, right? Because that's what's happened. There's a space created by you. You know how to pause. You know how to use a composer pause and a cinematic pause. Now someone is filling that space. How do you sort of take back that territory? And I don't mean that in a dominant, aggressive act of war way. I mean that in a form of self-respect because you value your idea and you want people to understand it. You probably know all too well that frustration of putting an idea out there, of being a little bit vulnerable, and it only being half received and half baked, and you having to move forward in the conversation, and the idea not being developed to its potential because someone took that space and steamrolled your silence. So there's two different ways of viewing interruption. Okay, the first is the T-bone. So if you think of a car accident where someone's crossing an intersection and they get T-boned by a big truck, that's a full-on collision. That's where someone is talking and I jump right in and I T-bone them with my volume and my voice. It's a direct collision. And typically if you're with someone who's a little bit more passive or a little bit more reserved, then they're gonna stop and they're gonna give you the time at the microphone. They're gonna let you take over. You generally don't want to do that. That's not recommended. Because if you do that too many times, and well, if you really do it any times more than once, it's going to annoy the other person. And now you're dealing with a different emotion in the conversation and a different kind of social intervention. So what you want to do, what the recommended strategy is as follows. There's a beautiful scene from the movie National Velvet where the main character is riding a horse and it comes alongside the main competitive horse, like the main jockey who's riding in I think it's the Kentucky Derby or whatever the big horse race is. And the main character comes alongside and then overtakes. And that idea is the social strategy for managing interruption. So what this looks like is, well, what does coming alongside mean? It means agreeing with the person. It means saying, yeah, that's a really good idea, like we talked about earlier. I love the way you explained it. That's fascinating. You're not coming off as prickly or too assertive or maybe too in opposition of what they say. It's, I like what you said, and then it's, what are you adding? Acknowledge and overtake. I love that idea. Maybe we consider this, maybe we do that, and we talk about bringing someone else on board the team. And now all you need is that 2 to 3 second window of them feeling like they are heard and that you acknowledge what they said for them to give you the reins and the license to overtake and then win for a little bit until someone else likely does something to you similar, like the T-bone or the beautiful transition like the acknowledge and overtake. So those would be my 2 suggestions that I offer up to you. And learning how to command silence well with the pauses, learning how to be able to effectively defend your conversational territory and to hold that space by verbalizing and visualizing your pause and being able to interrupt effectively is what's going to give you an unparalleled advantage with knowing how to command impact and silence well. Hope this helps.